Hey guys, Pamela Gagnon here from Performance Plus Programming, and wall walks are on tap today. So they have shown up in the CrossFit Open for many years, and they are probably here to stay. So here we're gonna go over 3 points of performance and also some mobility issues and some fixes that will help you walk through space more efficiently. So let's discuss wall walks. There's 3 points of performance I'm gonna discuss: the start position, the walk, and the descent. Then we're gonna go through some mobility issues. So let's begin with the start position of the wall walk. So when we get down to the wall walk, remember we usually have a line we have to get over and cross. So the first thing I wanna do is make sure my hands are just outside my shoulders or almost under my shoulders. Why is it important to keep your hands underneath your shoulders? Think about a dumbbell overhead, pressing the dumbbell this way versus out here. Which has more stability? The one over your skeletal system and all your muscles. So when we get down into the wall walk, we're gonna set up our hands under our shoulders, and then I'm gonna drive my hips back to the wall. So what does this do? This is now starting an open shoulder angle. If I don't drive my hips back to the wall and I'm here, when I step up, I have this closed shoulder angle. But if I send my hips back, my shoulders are already open and I'm starting that stacked position. So that is a really important piece of the start position, but also the why behind it. I think it's really important to understand the why behind all the movements we do. All right, there's the start, the arms and the hips. Now let's talk about the walk. First, let's discuss head position. So remember, we're here, then hips back. Now I want my ears in line with my arms. Why? Well, once again, that keeps my shoulder angle open and my body in that stacked position. So watch if my head is out, I'm here with my shoulder angle, and watch if I just line up my ears with my arms, my shoulder angle becomes open. So that's the head position. Let's discuss core. They're all related. So if my head is in a good position, my core is going to be in a longer tucked position. I want it to brace because I want to create a kind of a locked position between my upper and lower body. So think about a board. If we have a lot of broken pieces and we're trying to move those pieces through space, it's very difficult. So I want to have no joints loose. So I want to lock in my upper and lower body by bracing my core down. After we do that, we want to think about pressing through the floor instead of actually lifting our hands. Let's look at what I mean by that. So as I walk up the wall, instead of lifting, where I'm gonna then come and sag, I wanna push away. What that's gonna do is activate the right back muscles. We wanna fire up these muscles right between our scaps. We want our traps and back muscles and shoulders completely engaged. So when we walk up the wall, we're gonna think head position, we're gonna think core bracing, and we're gonna think pressing down instead of lifting our hand to move. So let's take a look at what that would look like. Arms in close, hips back, head, brace core, press. When I get to the top, if I have trouble getting close to that line, I can tuck my toes or point them. Notice also, I get right up to the line because my skeletal system is stacked. All of the parts, nothing is in the way. So let's say if we stick our head out and we're walking up with this big arch, what hits the wall first? My belly. Well, now my hands have nowhere to move. I can't move any further around. So let's fix that position. If my belly's out, what's the first thing I'm gonna think about? I'm gonna think about head position, so ears in line. It already fixed everything I needed. Then I can brace my core and press all the way up. So those are some little cues and fixes if you or your athlete are having a difficult time. All right, so that's the start and the walk. Now we gotta get down from the wall, the descent. we're gonna go over two ways. The fastest during competitions, and then the most effective to build muscles and muscle memory through this skill. So let's talk about the fastest way. I like to kind of take a giant step. So if I'm all the way up, I like to take a giant step with my hand and then kind of come down the wall in a giant step as well too. And then once my hands are over that line, if I'm worried about a competition, then I will just kind of really splat down. So that would be the most effective way to go quickly. If I want to train muscle memory and strength so I can build wall walk endurance and handstand endurance, I'm not going to do that during a regular workout. Even I don't do that during a regular workout because I really like to feel under control and I want my muscles to continually work. Let's look at how we can control the descent where we can build muscle memory. So I'm gonna come down the exact same way I came up the wall. I'm gonna take little steps pressing through the floor. My feet are taking little steps too. I'm bracing, coming down. Then on the next rep, I'm going to make sure my hands are shoulder width, hips to the wall, head, core brace, press. And there is really your wall walk position that is most efficient. If you guys look at videos of people who have difficulty walking versus people who walk very easily through space, if you focus on the tension through their body, you'll understand the athletes with the most tension will move through space with the most efficiency and power. So keep that in mind. Also video yourself. You look very different when you look at a camera versus what you think you look like through space as well too. I'm gonna go over one fault that I see that is extremely common, and that is not taking a big enough step on your first initial step up the wall. So if you only get to here, it forces you to kind of get into that compromised arch position where our pecs are doing most of the work. So make sure you really take a nice giant step up that wall in order to get into the most efficient position for the wall walk. Let's talk about some issues. There's usually not enough time in inversions, so work on handstand stability and strength. That is a beginner program that will help you guys work on stability through shoulders and being more comfortable upside down. 2, your shoulder mobility. What happens when you have a lack of mobility in your shoulders, it also affects the wrists. So you might have a lot of pain while you're walking up the wall in wall walks or even in handstands. Let me show you why. So if you can't open your shoulders all the way, you're gonna have to lean into your wrist in an over-compromised position. Zach has showed me a test that we can do to see if we are mobile enough. So Zach's going to sit in crisscross. He's gonna have his palms facing down on the floor, and he's gonna lift the PVC with his back completely flat, and he's gonna see if he can touch his wrists and keep his back flat on that wall. So that's a good mobility test. If you cannot do that, overhead mobility overhaul is a great way to get more mobile in that position. We also have that mobility checklist that you can take as well too. That's on our website as well. If we don't fix that, our wrists are going to be in a more compromised position. So first we have to fix the overhead mobility, and then we'll see if that helps address the wrist issue. When you work on your grip strength and forearm strength, that also helps the stabilization of wrists as well too. Remember, we don't want to, in order to get stacked, we don't want the athlete to have to arch. But if you are not as mobile as you need to be, you're going to have to flare that rib cage out. Once again, that's gonna cause the issue because your belly is gonna hit the wall first and your hands are gonna still be far from the wall. So these are the reasons why overhead mobility is so important. Hopefully you guys have learned a little bit about wall walks. It is a really, really amazing handstand tool. I know not many of you like it, but it is extremely useful in your handstand journey. The more efficient you get at wall walks, the better you are at handstand holds, handstand walking, and handstand push-ups, because it works on all types of your spatial awareness, body awareness, and mobility and stability for this skill. Hope this helped you guys. After you watch this, if you would like to kind of upload some of your wall walks and have all of our Performance Plus athletes look at them on the Facebook page, that would be awesome to see if any of these tips help. And as always, we love to hear your feedback and what you guys want for our next month's clinic as well. You can add those in the comments. In the show notes, we will also attach the mobility checklist and the programs that we have listed that will help you guys get better at wall walks. So happy wall walking. Hope you enjoy walking on your hands as much as you do on your feet like I do. And next month we will have Zach back with his voice as well too.